Hello and welcome to my channel, Talisman Tarot. In this reading I want to ask the cards and Spirit directly through channeling about what the gossip is on you. What are people saying about you behind your back? And I have 5 groups here that you can choose from. This will be group number 1, this will be group number 2, this will be group number 3, this will be group number 4, and this will be group number 5. And so I will ask you to use your intuition and choose the group that speaks to you the most, the group that catches your eye, and that group will be your group. And if you need any more time to choose, you can just pause the video. You can also wait until after this introduction. There will be an image of the cards, the decks up front, where it's more up close and personal. And yeah, you can wait until that and then you can choose your group. But after you've chosen your group, go ahead and go down to the description box below and find the timestamp for your particular group and click on that, and your reading should appear in front of you. And while you're down there in the description box below, make sure to check out my guide on how to book a personal reading from me. I love doing personal readings for you guys. It's always a pleasure, so please check that out. But let's focus on this reading right here. Choose your group and I'll see you in your reading. Hello, group number 1, you chose the Tarot of Mermaids. And I'm going to start with some channeling and then I'm going to shuffle the cards for you. So I'm going to do the channeling now. So Spirit, can you answer this question for group number 1, the people who will choose group number 1? What's the gossip on group number 1? What are people saying about group number 1 behind their back? Okay, it's actually very positive. People talk about you as very beautiful. Like it's like people talk about your appearance a little bit more than they talk about how you feel on the inside. So it's a little bit superficial. It's a little bit surface based. So they might assume that you're doing very well because you look very good. Like they might also be talking about you going through a glow up period where you're glowing up. Like it's like you're really, you know, becoming a better version of yourself physically. And that they see that as a reflection of how you are on the inside, how you feel on the inside, how your life is, because they assume that, okay, you're looking well, must be because you're doing well. And so if you've lost weight recently, I think people around you are talking about how great that is, that it's great that you're losing weight, that it's great that you're taking care of yourself. But truly, maybe you're not even intending on losing weight. Like maybe it just happened. Maybe it happened because of stress. Maybe you've been depressed, or maybe there has been other reasons why you've lost weight. Maybe you've had health issues, and so it seems a little bit insensitive that people just assume that you've lost weight because you're doing well, like because you wanted to, or that it's a part of your weight loss journey or something. But I just think it's a cop-out. I feel like it's the easy way out. I feel like the people around you, they don't really bother to look deeper. And I think it's because they don't really want the answer. Like they just look at you and they see you, that you're very pretty, and so they just go on with their life. And I think they might have asked you like how you're doing or something, but I think when they ask you how you're doing, they just assume that you're gonna say that you're doing well, and they just expect that, and they expect the bullshit answer. Even maybe you are doing well. So of course, for those of you where things are actually going very well, then maybe they are very right about these assumptions. So but for those of you where you're not maybe doing so good, then I think it seems like the people around you are kind of avoiding to have to support and be there for you, and which are like, I don't know if it's because they are intentionally doing this. I think they just don't want to get deep into it for whatever reason. And I don't think it's just you. I think it's maybe just the family. Like if you're in a family where nobody really talks to each other, like where everybody just says they're fine, and like everybody just talks to each other with like 2 sentences, and that's the whole conversation. Like that they don't seem to, they seem to ask questions, but they don't really want the answers or the true answers. They just want you to, give a quick answer, and then they can go on with their life. And then they feel like they've done something that day. Like if they call you, they might call you just to have a 5-minute conversation with you. But like if it drags out, then they feel like that wasn't what they intentionally wanted, like that or initially wanted. So a lot of superficial energy, a lot of, acting like you care, but they don't really care. And I think so the gossip, it's very positive, but I feel like it's also positive because people are like talking to each other, justifying why they haven't helped you or haven't supported you, like by telling each other, oh, it seems like you're doing well. Like it seems like you're, you look pretty on your pictures. You seem to have lost weight recently, and you seem just you seem just fine. So people just talk to each other and justify that they haven't checked up on you, or that they haven't asked the right questions, or like gotten very deep into how you truly feel. So yeah, I think the gossip is more justification. It's more like people just seem to talk about you behind your back, so that they can justify why they don't talk to you directly to your face, And I don't know if that makes sense, but I can't really describe it in a better way. That was all I got. So yeah. I'm gonna shuffle some cards about the gossip on you. Yeah, with the 9 of Swords and the Hermit. So I think people talk about you as possibly a little bit isolated, and that it's hard to get to know you, which is a little bit silly because it's not hard. Like I don't think it's hard to get to know you. I think if people ask the right questions, if people want to get deep with you, like talk about deep stuff with you, you would be open to share, I think. But I think the people around you have just been lazy and not really put in the time to get to know you, and so I think it's all on them. And I think it's because they've been very superficial and been very surface-based. They've just, scratched the surface and like just assumed a lot of things about you just based on your appearance, or and what pictures you've posted online, or like it's and maybe also some of the things that you've posted online. Like that's not a way to communicate with a person. It's not like, I think they feel like they've communicated with you if they've liked your post, or if they commented like some kind of emoji on one of your posts on Facebook, then they feel like they've interacted with you, but they haven't. That's not a conversation. Yeah. And if they comment that one of your pictures, or that you look very good on one of your pictures, like that's not a conversation either. Like that's just them, stating something, but it's very physical, appearance based. Like it's very like, yeah. So I think there might be someone who might have talked, like this is the only negative I can the only negative thing I can like sense here, like, and I'm not trying to spin this in a negative way at all. I'm just like, you asked for some gossip, and so I think you were looking for something a little bit more juicy than what I've provided, and I can't give you anything very juicy because I don't think there is anything juicy here. But I'm sensing, because I'm really sensing that people are respectful when they talk about you. So that's a good thing. But there might have been one person who might have felt like they were liking all your pictures and that you weren't liking their pictures back. And this person might have talked to someone else about how they felt it was a little bit unfair that they constantly liked or comment your things and never really got it reciprocated in a sense. And I think it's a little bit unfair because first of all, maybe you're not someone who is that much focused on social media. Like maybe you're not really that much online, and so maybe you post some pictures sometimes, like if there's something to post about, but maybe maybe it's just like it's very rare for you to be on Facebook or Instagram, and so of course you might not have liked this person's pictures back, but maybe you also felt like it's kind of like getting a compliment. Like it seems forced if you just give the compliment back, So like if someone tells you you're pretty and you tell them that they are pretty too, like that, it just loses its meaning if it's just coming from a place of, having to reciprocate what's been said instead of coming from, from the heart. And maybe you felt like there might have, like this person might have like suddenly just liked all your pictures, like all at once, where you just, logged in onto your Facebook profile and could just see that like all your pictures had like suddenly been liked by this person. And maybe you thought it was also, well, not really that flattering. Because when someone just likes all your photos like out of the blue, it doesn't seem like they've actually liked them. Like that it's not because, like, it's more like that they're trying to show something, that it's like more of a message to you that, oh, I'm seeing your photos, or like that. It's not. I just, and especially when someone likes all the photos instead of selecting a few photos that they really like, it gives off the wrong message. I think it's not really it's really not really very, you know, I don't know. I understand why you might have felt like you couldn't really reciprocate that, because you're maybe not the type of person who just go through a person's full album of pictures and then just likes all of them. That it's maybe a little bit. Yeah, I think, but this is such a small thing. Like I think this person might have just, you know, told someone that they didn't really feel like you were that interested in them because of this, because you didn't reciprocate the whole like fest. And yeah, whatever. It seemed weird to begin with. So yeah. And it seems like an afterthought, like that someone just suddenly realized that they wanted to like all your pictures all at once. And this person might have actually been friends with you for a long time, so they could have just been liking them like as they like. Usually it's more flattering to like photos as you go, like as they get posted, instead of just doing it afterwards, like where it's more like they wanted you to feel bad by them doing this for you and then waiting for you to do it the same for them. Like that, it seemed more like they were trying to prove something by doing this. And I don't know. I don't know if this even makes sense to you, but okay, with the World card, it seems like people talk about you in a very positive way. They talk about you as, first of all, very beautiful, because the World is a very beautiful card. It's also a very bodily card. It's very like. It's one of the few cards where like especially in other decks, it's one of the few cards where the person is naked. So in this deck here, they are all naked though, or kind of naked though, because it's mermaids, and so, you know, they yeah, but. There might have been someone who talked about you looking good naked. So this person could have been someone that you're intimate with. So if you're intimate with someone, and if you're dating someone, that person could have, you know, gossiped to their friends, like about your body, that you look good. That you, yeah. But with the World card, it also just, it seems that people also see you as someone who's very, very worldly, like that you have a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge about other cultures. And of course, this could still be superficial in sort of weird way, but I feel like there might be some people who haven't actually been talking to you enough to actually know this about you. Like because they don't seem that curious. Like they don't seem like people who actually have like a long conversation with other people. And I don't think it's just about you. It's just in general. I feel like you have a lot of people around you who are terrible at holding up a conversation. And so they don't really know that much about you personally. They haven't heard it from your mouth. Like but I think they might know this because they've seen photos like online. So they might have seen photos of you traveling, and so they talk about, oh, this person seems to be into traveling. Have fun, like, but it's so surface based. I don't know what. I feel like you kind of need other people around you. Like, I feel like these people that you're surrounded with, like, they're not. I don't know. I just find it odd that they don't seem to be curious about going deeper, like asking you the real questions and actually having a long and deep conversation with you. But it is what it is. Like, sometimes we can't really, choose the people that we're hanging out with. Sometimes we, like, especially if it's family, then of course we can't choose our family. Sometimes we just, end up with people who are maybe not the most socially gifted people, but they might have other qualities to them, so that are also, good. They might show support in other ways, maybe practical ways. Like, they might be the first ones to help you if you have like a roof leaking or something, or if like, yeah. So there might be other things that that your family can help you with, and maybe this isn't your family, maybe it's just your friends. I just don't really know, but it's okay. Like, not everybody has to be conversationalists. Like, they don't have to be socialites. Like, they can easily, they can also find a lot of information. Sorry, they can find a lot of information online. So maybe the internet has made them lazy, because they feel like they don't really have to follow up on you, because if there's something happening in your life, you're going to post about it, or you're going to text them, or that it's like, it might have killed the curiosity, like the natural curiosity, because of course it's hard to act curious about something that you already know, sort of, because you've already gotten that information from the internet. Well, like, if you've posted recently that you've lost your job, or something, like, then your family might feel like, oh, they don't have to call you because they already know. Like, that it's just they found out on social media. So again, it's very lazy, because even if you find out this online, you still have to follow up on it by, contacting the person and asking the person about it and how they feel about it. But with the 10 of Pentacles reversed, well, people might talk about you as that you're maybe not that focused on your family, and that this could be your family gossiping about you. Like, they might gossip about you not really seeming that keen on, contacting them, which again is a little bit silly, because it seems like they are not contacting you, like they're not calling you, but they feel like you need to call them. And so this could be your father or your mother, like who keeps expecting you to call, but especially if it's your parents, then this just doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up, because, well, if a person chooses to have a child and birth a child and you know, raise that child, you can't just suddenly expect the child to, you know, to be the only one responsible for interaction between you and the child. Like, and that's what I don't understand about some parents who feel like it's their children's responsibility to keep the relationship going. Like that after they turn 18, then they just, you know, are like, oh well, now it's your job. Like you just have to be the one calling me. Like, and I think a lot of parents feel that way, that and then they sit around at home and are like angry with their children for not really checking up on them, because but then again, like it should be the other way around, because it should be like not necessarily the other way around, but it should be a 50-50 sort of deal, where it could also, you know, easily just be, you know, yeah, it doesn't have to be one person who's responsible for the whole interaction, you know. So I feel like if your family is gossiping about you, they have a hard time looking inwards, and they don't realize that it's also their fault. Like they are also to blame for not keeping up this relationship with you, that they're not checking up on you, and so they can't expect you to check up on them when they don't do the same for you. Like, so yeah. But yeah, I think that's all I have for you. Actually, I'm gonna end the reading here. I'm gonna emphasize though that it is a good reading. People don't seem to have anything negative to say necessarily, like besides the fact that they might feel like it's your responsibility to call them, even though it's not. Which and that they might see you as, you know, as not reciprocating. But I don't see what you're not reciprocating, because for you to reciprocate, they have to have done something that you then reciprocate. Doesn't make sense to expect you to reciprocate something that they haven't done. Like if they haven't shown you any interest or curiosity in your life, then how do they expect you to then reciprocate something that they haven't done? But I think in their mind, I think they feel like they are curious about your life, that they show you a lot of interest, but they don't. And I don't know why they think they do, but I think they might feel like they do that through social media by, you know, liking a post or liking a photo, or like something like where it's not curiosity, it's not interest, yeah. So, well, in a way, you could possibly make it all right or make it all good again by just going onto their profiles, like social media profiles, and just like all their photos, because then there wouldn't be any bad blood. But there doesn't seem to be any, you know, direct bad blood. But if you feel like if this is just, I'm just saying that if you don't like it, if you don't like that people seem to be annoyed with you showing too little interest, then just do it lazily, because they do it lazily. Like they do it with minimum effort. Then you can show minimum effort as well by just writing happy birthday on their birthday when like, and doing it on Facebook instead of doing it in person, because that is like, it seems like your family doesn't really care that much if you actually call them on their birthday. Like they would be, it seems like they would be okay with you just sending like a happy birthday on Facebook. But like, I would find that to be like not very personal, but I guess it's different for different people. And so of course, if they do it that way, like if you haven't gotten like a call on your birthday, but you've had like Facebook greetings instead, then maybe just do the same thing for these people who do it that way, like that. But yeah, I don't know. But it seems like people find you very beautiful and talk about your physical beauty. And so that's good, I guess. That's a positive thing. Yeah. So, but that's all I have for you. Group number 1. I hope this reading was helpful, and have a great day, and bye. Hello, group number 2. You chose the Dalí Tarot, and I'm going to start with some channeling, and then I'm going to shuffle these cards for you. So I'm going to do the channeling now. So Spirit, can you answer this question for group number 2, the people who will choose group number 2? What's the gossip on group number 2? What are people saying about group number 2 behind their back? Okay, so I'm sensing it's very positive. People don't have anything negative to say, and I feel like it's because people see you as someone who's very nice and very humble. And I think people don't want to criticize you or say anything nasty about you behind your back, because they see you as a pure and genuine person, and they know that you wouldn't say anything about them behind their back. So they know that you're better than that. And so I think they are thriving to be the same way towards you, and I think they don't really want to, like, I don't think they feel the need either to gossip about you. Like, I think they know that if they have something to say about you, then it's just more productive to say it directly to your face instead of saying it behind your back. And I think you're also surrounded by people who are rather wholesome in their way of communicating. I don't think you have friends who, deliberately try to sabotage anything or behind your back, like, or they don't want to cause any trouble. They're not trying to, like, I don't feel, I'm just sensing you don't have any snakes around you. Like, nobody's saying one thing to your face and then saying something completely different behind your back. I don't think you are associating yourself with these kinds of people. So it's like, well, when you have a good way of selecting the right people in your life, you also, you also end up avoiding a lot of drama, because you're not seeking out drama. You're not seeking out people who cause drama. And so I think it's just yeah, I'm really sensing that people only have nice things to say about you. And I think they talk about, like, if they talk about you behind your back, they are saying things that they would say to you to your face too. So yeah, I think they talk about you being very happy and positive, and that you seem like a breath of fresh air. I don't know if you've started something new recently, like if you've started a new job or a new education, or if you've just met a new group of friends or something like that. I feel like this new environment that you might have gotten into recently actually see you as an asset, like that they see you as someone who's adding to the positive energy, like that you're causing a more kind and humble energy around you, that you seem to, like, your energy seems to rub off on other people, and people feel like you're the word of reason sometimes, where I think if there has been some drama in either at your workplace or in your friend group or in your family or something, I think you're always the one who tells people that they need to see it from the other person's perspective, or that you tell people to try to find a common ground, or find something in common, that like if two people feel like they are too different from each other, so that they can't really talk to each other because they don't have anything to talk about. I think you're very good at finding some topic that both of them can bond over, because I think you're very good with people. Actually, I think you have a very good natural sense of how to be a good mediator between people, how to get people to come together and find union within a group. And so it's very positive. It's very positive. So I'm going to shuffle and see what the cards have to say about the gossip on you, what people are saying about you behind your back. There might be one simple, or like it's a rumor that feels like it's coming from a person who has a very simplistic way of looking at life and looking at other people, and I think this person might see things black and white and doesn't really get that deep into it. So I think it's a presumption, it's a prejudice or something like that. But I think there might be someone who, like if you're in a relationship, this is only concerning those of you who are dating someone right now. I think there might be someone in your life who feels like this person that you're dating, not you, the person that you're dating, is taking advantage of you and taking advantage of your kindness. So there's something like that going on, like that someone might have said that to another person. I don't think the other person agreed necessarily, but yeah, so there might be some micro rumor going on that you're being taken advantage of by your partner or the person that you're dating. Mostly because, and in a way it's actually a good thing, or not a good thing, it's a terrible thing, but it's a compliment to you. It's kind of like saying that you're too good for this person that you're dating, that you could find something better. So it's a compliment to you, not so much a compliment to the person you're dating, of course, but it's still positive for you. So I'm gonna shuffle and see what the cards have to say about the gossip. Okay, so with the Sun card, people see you as very positive, a very, like, yeah, a very happy person, a very, like, someone who looks at the bright side of the things, that you're very good at seeing the best in people, and also, well, that there could, yeah, that person who might be spreading a rumor or about your partner. Like, I feel like this is about your partner. It's not about you, but there might be some rumor about, or if you're not in a relationship, it could be someone that you were dating in the past, like a past relationship that you were in, where people might still be talking about this, that maybe you have, like, and the gossip part of this is that people feel like it's not people, like it's maybe 2 or 3 people who might be saying that you're a little bit naive, that there is a naivety to you, that maybe you see the good in people a bit too much, that where you might get yourself in trouble because you end up trusting someone that you shouldn't have trusted, and that you keep looking at the bright side, and maybe that you ignore some of the red flags because you're too focused on seeing the asset that people are in your life, and that maybe you're so focused on what people and by asset I mean just that maybe you look at all the good stuff, that the good things that this person has, like all the good qualities that they have, and then maybe that these good qualities outweigh the negative, and that's also how we should be looking at people. We should be seeing the balance, that sometimes a person can do something stupid, but then, like, if they do a lot of good things to make up for the stupid thing that they did, there is also, like, there should be a limitation to how much we are going to, judge a person for one misdemeanor. And well, a misdemeanor is, a big deal, especially if you were in a relationship. I feel like for some of you this could actually be, like, it could be both a relationship, or it could be just that you took pity on someone, and maybe someone that other people were dooming or damning, like that they thought this person was not someone that you should have even given the time, or company. Maybe you saw someone who was alone, and you took pity on them for being alone, and so you might have reached out to them and asked them, like, if they wanted to, just have an evening, like, with you, like, get some dinner or something. And maybe it wasn't even in terms of dating. Maybe you just felt like this person needed a friend, and so you wanted, to be there for this person. But maybe all the people around you have been, very rough on this person because of something they did, something this person did that might not have been concerning the people around you, but it might just, like, I don't know, it just seems like you might, yeah, I feel like people see you as too kind, that you're too nice, that you're too forgiving, and that, yeah, I don't know. I feel like this might be different for all of you, like, but I feel like I feel like the theme here is kindness to the point where you're maybe a little bit too kind. So that's the gossip, I guess. That yeah. That maybe they even see your kindness as a bit of a diskindness in some way, because you've taken you've taken pity on someone that might have hurt somebody else. Like if someone in the family might have, you know, said something hurtful to another family member, and all the family just turned their back on this person right away just because of this one comment that, you know, that might have even been misunderstood a little bit, and also something that maybe this person completely regretted saying it right away, but couldn't take the words back because it was said, and so there was no turning back from that. And maybe this person was drunk, and so there might have been other reasons why this person just blurted it out without thinking. And it's maybe a very rough punishment that everybody just turns their back on this person just because of this one thing. And maybe you felt like it was sad that the whole family was somehow against this person just because of one thing. And maybe you thought it would be a nice gesture to just, you know, call this person and ask this person if they are okay, and maybe you even, you know, ask them to, you know, meet up with you and just talk, and maybe this whole thing has gotten people talking about you in a way where it's like you should have maybe taken the side of all the other people who were damning this person, and I don't know, but I feel like they don't see you as like there's like, I think they all know that you were doing this out of kindness, but they just felt like you should have been loyal to them. So I don't know, but yeah. With this page of Swords, I think people see you as very smart, and people talk about you as a very smart person, that you also that you're very witty and very, very funny too, in a very smart way, that you're showing a lot of intellect with the way that you construct your jokes, and how you don't stoop to, also that you don't stoop to people's levels, the people around you, that like you don't go, like I think you might come from a family that's quite funny, or well, some of you might, so and there might be like this whole thing where all the family members kind of try to be funny, of course, and you might not really want to laugh at some of the jokes that are a little bit, you know, mean. Like, I think you're above that in some way, that where I think you feel like well, when it turns to the nasty, you don't really want to take part in it, but you want to, like, I think you enjoy some of your family's jokes, but when it turns to banter or like being just actually just being a bully, like then I think I think you have a humor that's very different from that. Like I don't think you want to bully anybody, and I think maybe your family. I don't know if it's only your family or if it's even your family. Maybe it's just your friend group, but they might see you as slightly sanctimonious sometimes when you don't want to laugh at jokes that are on somebody else's expense. And maybe you even take the high road and say that you feel like it's a little bit distasteful to talk about someone who's not in the room to defend themselves. And I think you might have made someone feel a little bit ashamed of themselves. And of course, when someone is ashamed of themselves, they will maybe talk shit about you behind your back in order to justify what they did. Like, because they know that they've lost their they might feel like they've lost some dignity in front of other people when you pointed out that they were doing something that was mean or nasty or like that they were being a little bit of a bully. Then they felt bad. I think they had to make other people like they might have used you as a decoy, like that. Now suddenly the attention was on them for being mean, and so they had to turn it around a little bit and say that, oh, you're just being you're just being sensitive. Sorry, not insensitive. Even though maybe maybe insensitive to them. They might have felt like you pointing out that they were insensitive might have been that they felt like that was insensitive to them for you to tell them that they were insensitive. Which makes no sense, but it's kind of like saying, oh, you hurt me by pointing out that I hurt other people. And I guess it makes sense, but I think it makes sense in some way where it's like, it's about loyalty, like you have to be loyal to the people around you even when they're being dicks. But I don't know. So I think, but I think it's very good. Like the perception of you from the people around you, it seems like they perceive you as a very good person, like a very a very genuine person, a very pure person. So it's good. But sometimes you can, of course, like if a person is acting too nice, it can kind of, act like a mirror to the person that is being, to the person that you're being nice towards. Like it might cause them to feel like, oh, this person is so nice, it makes me look bad. So, and that doesn't feel nice to me. Like kind of like that. So I guess there's a downside to everything. Like if you had acted in the opposite way, like if you were being nasty to everybody would see you as negative. Like then that would maybe that would actually make people feel good, because then they would feel good about themselves. But like in comparison. So in a way, I think some of your friends might actually choose to associate themselves with nasty people who are being quite mean, people who are being bullies, because it makes them feel like, oh, then they're not so shitty after all, like because somebody else has the throne, like somebody else is a little bit, like someone else is better at being mean, and like a little bit more like yeah. So yeah, it's all about comparison. Like sometimes some people only look for people that can make them feel good, and sometimes that like I don't know, I don't even know where I'm going with that, but I think I'm also kind of like I'm gonna move on to I'm gonna shuffle more cards about the gossip on you. What are people saying about you? Okay. With the Queen of Pentacles, there's a devil here, and the devil has like this string, like she is pulling on this string towards towards this woman here. So there's I guess it's a string. I don't know if it's a string of her hair that he has in his mouth. I don't know. You can decide on your own what you see from this card here. But there is a devil, and the devil surely has an impact on the female. If you're a female, if you're not a female, that it doesn't. Well, what I'm sensing is that if you're a female, or if you're a slightly more well, this doesn't have, it's a gender neutral card, but it might be a little bit more to the feminine side. So if you're a man, and if you have a bit of a feminine side to you, then well, all men do. So and all women have masculine sides to them. So it like we all have like we have but we both have that duality within ourselves, that we have the masculine side and the feminine side. So I guess this card is more like calling towards a part of you that might be more submissive than dominant, and this submissive side of you might be what people might talk a little bit about, that you might especially when it comes to relationships, that you might give over the control to somebody else. And if you're not in a relationship right now, then maybe people are just talking about you generally dating people who have a tendency to walk all over you, or that you let people that you're very good at compromising, especially when you're in a relationship, that you're maybe the type of person who would move to another country for a like if you met the right person, if you met your soulmate, you wouldn't have a problem moving away with them, like moving far away from your family and from your friends, and sacrifice a lot of your life to be with them. But maybe it's not, like maybe people misunderstand this, because maybe they see it as you being the sacrificing person, the person who's sacrificing everything for your partner, or for the person that you're dating, or the person that you used to date in the past, if this is an ex. But maybe you just sacrificed this because you kind of wanted to. Like you maybe wanted an adventure, maybe you were a little bit tired of the people around you, and maybe you didn't really feel like it was that big of a sacrifice. Maybe, especially when it comes to your family, maybe you were getting a little bit tired of them in some way, and so maybe it wasn't really, that big of a deal for you. Or I know this is very specific, so I know it's not going to resonate with all of you, but I feel like there might just be some talk about you being a little bit whipped, or that you allow people to control you, or something like, and that you're maybe too nice, and that you don't say no to people, and that this is your weakness, even though it could be your strength, that you're very flexible and that you're not afraid of a new adventure, and you're not afraid of starting something new, even though it's completely foreign to you. It might just be something that you're strong enough to be willing to just, dive right into it. So I feel like it could be a strength of yours, but maybe some people see it as a weakness. But I think it's a difference in perspective, I think. So also, especially like if you've been in a relationship with someone who had a different religion than you, and you just accepted that completely, and you might have even, thought it was interesting, and maybe you started looking up some information about this new religion, and maybe you even thought about converting, maybe just because it interested you, that you were maybe fascinated by certain aspects of it, and maybe you even felt like it didn't really matter which religion you were a part of, like that maybe you weren't that caught up in the religion that you had to begin with, like maybe your family's religion, it might not have ever really caught your interest, so maybe it didn't really make sense to you to keep continuing on in a religion that wasn't really giving you anything interesting back, and maybe it just seemed a little bit more fascinating to kind of just dive into this new thing. And so maybe people just see it as you letting go of all your principles, when actually you were just open enough to, seek out new things like that. I think you have a very open mind, and I think you see it as an expansion to look up new things and try new things, and it is an expansion. It's an expansion of your mind. If we go through life completely narrow-minded and only focus on the thing that we have been indoctrinated into believing, and only want to look at that thing without actually welcoming new things into our lives, then we end up having a very poor life. And so I don't think you have I don't think I don't think you're weak in your principles. So no. With the Ace of Pentacles and with the Six of Cups here, well, I think people see you as very loving and caring, and that you have a childlike mind that's not childish. I think people see you as actually very, very mature, but that you have a way of being able to unlock your inner child and show excitement over the small things, and that you can go into everything with a curiosity as if you were a child. Because usually people grow out of their curiosity and they stop being curious about new things and new people, and yeah, and I think you have that still, and you never grew out of that. And I think you're also very curious when it comes to people. You want to get to know people, you want to ask them a lot of questions, and people see that as this beautiful childlike curiosity, and it's a very good way of like, it's not gossip, because it's not like this is not a negative thing. People don't see it as a negative thing. People see it as a good thing, positive thing. So with the Ace of Pentacles, people see you as someone who could be very successful in life. And I think people also talk about that you're someone who's on the path of, getting what you were set, like doing, like, I feel like you have a mission. And I think people can tell that you have a mission on Earth, that you're also following this mission, following this path. And that I think people talk about you getting success because I think people can tell that you're doing things for the right reasons, and people who do things for the right reasons will usually get get the, what's it called, they will accomplish what they set their mind to accomplish. Or I don't know if this is one person in your life who feels like, well, I think most people do, but there's just, I'm getting something slightly spiritual, like some that's one person maybe in your family, or yeah, maybe a long lost cousin or something, I don't know, but someone in your family sees you and seems to actually be like a silent supporter. Maybe this person hasn't, shown you direct support, like they might not have reached out to you, but I think this person is actually very fond of what you're doing when it comes to your career, I think, or your personal life, or just the path that you're on, this path of forgiving people and being more kind and allowing people to make mistakes, but also show them the forgiveness that can make them better themselves and make it up to you what they did to you, or like that you seem to have a very good way of seeing the good in people. And I think this person sees that you're on a path of like sharing where you're sharing a good message that could potentially, change the perspective of a lot of people, and maybe also help someone who, like, I feel like I'm kind of circling towards like one person. I don't know if there is one person that you have stood up for, maybe within the family, and that could be like this long lost cousin who might agree with you that this is completely outrageous what the family is doing, and this person might see that you're actually on the right path, that you're doing this beautiful thing, and that that you're so certain in yourself, and that this person feels like they would want that too, like they would want to also have the boldness to just dare to go against the stream, do what you like. And I think this person sees that you're following your intuition, and that you're not just listening to whatever rubbish everybody's telling you. And yeah, so I don't know, it seems a little bit specific try to make it make sense in your situation. So yeah, But I think that's all I have for you, group number 2. I hope this reading was helpful, and have a great day, and bye. Hello, group number 3. You chose the Aleister Crowley's Thoth Tarot, and I'm going to start with some channeling, and then I'm going to shuffle the cards for you. So I'm going to do the channeling now. So Spirit, can you answer this question for group number 3, the people who will choose group number 3? What's the gossip on group number 3? What are people saying about group number 3 behind their back? Okay, so it seems like the people around you like to talk. So it seems like it's a chatty bunch. So there is some gossip here. Like it seems that way, yes. Some of it is positive, some of it is negative. So don't be discouraged by this when I tell you what the gossip is, because these people find a problem with everything. Like I don't think anybody is spared. Like everybody gets some gossip. Like everybody has something to say about one another. So yeah, there is some gossip, and I feel like it's mostly concerning your beliefs, your personal beliefs, your spiritual beliefs, your religious beliefs, and maybe also your point of view, or your cultural point of view, or your culture just in general. It feels like there's also some kind of clash between two cultures. And yeah, it seems like there's a lot of different things here. For many of you, it's about spirituality. It's about maybe tarot or astrology. Maybe you talked to some people about your interest in tarot or astrology, or just spirituality in general. And I think, well, it seems like someone felt like it was directly affecting them somehow. I don't know how they were able to make it about themselves in some way. It could be your parents. Like if you grew up in a very religious family, very Catholic family, or just very religious in any way, like, then maybe your mother or father feels like you're punishing them by being interested in tarot or astrology, because it's somehow directly affecting them, they believe. Like that's how they feel, is that they are the target of this, that you're just doing it to make them angry, like that you're just rebelling against them, that you're that this is some kind of provocation towards them. And it's not about them. Like they are not the center of the universe. Sometimes people can, have different interests, and it's not always something like people don't always have it's just not about them. I think it's just silly that they feel like somehow they somehow they have so much power over everybody, that everybody is just doing things only to target them and cause them grief. And I don't know, I feel like there might also be someone who I don't know if this is a family member or if it's a friend of yours or but there might be someone who feels like somehow they are actually directly being affected by your interest in the spiritual. Maybe because they feel like since you're into tarot and possibly astrology, then that must mean that you're into witchcraft as well, and voodoo dolls and magic spells and all of that. That must be something you're also interested in and that you're also practicing. And for some of you, you could be, but I'm sensing that for most of you, you're not really doing that, or maybe you are, but you're doing it in a good way. Like where I think you're, like if you do magic, it's more, white magic. It's not the black one. And I think you're doing it for good purposes. And, maybe using it to manifest something nice in your life, but not for like any, evil purposes. And I think somehow there might be some people in your life or one person, I feel like this is just one person who feels like you're only getting into witchcraft to get them, to use it against them. That you're just learning magic spells so that you can, somehow put a magic spell on them and cause their life to go to shit or something. That this could be an ex of yours, or someone who's really afraid that the karma is going to bite them, or that what they did to you will somehow, circle itself back in their face and like a boomerang. And yeah, and maybe it will, but it won't be because of you. And that's the whole thing about karma. It's like you're not the one doing it. Like that's the universe. So if they feel like their life has gone to shit after they broke up with you, or after you broke up with them because they abused you or whatever, that is on them. Like that's something they have done to themselves. Like it's not because you're doing any magic spells. So, but yeah. So I'm sensing that there is something about, it seems like people are not content with what your hobbies are. Like they want to change your hobbies, make it something that they actually also have interest in, or like especially when it comes to your family. I think your family just wants you to have the same religion as them. If you have converted to another religion, they feel like you've betrayed the family. That I don't know, and maybe they feel like you're criticizing the family by going into another direction than them. Maybe they feel like I feel like maybe you. Well, I think it's very natural that you've rebelled against what you were indoctrinated into believing when you were younger. I think there might have been a lot of things where you had restrictions growing up, where you were restricted by your family to only do certain things, and maybe your whole family. I don't know if it's only religion that was restricting you in your childhood. Maybe it was also just the morals and the things that your family seemed to be interested in, that only so you could only do the things that your parents wanted you to do, and that this was maybe a very limited practice, like that very limited selection of things that you could actually do, because you were only allowed to do the things that your parents agreed with or felt was, in alignment with their code or something. I don't know. And maybe now they feel like, well, of course, when we move from the teenage years to adulthood, we realize, all of us realize that that the restrictions that we grew up with were very much, fantasy, and that when we become an adult, we realize we have all the freedom in the world to believe in whatever we want to believe in and live our life in a way that we want to live. And so there shouldn't be any surprise there for your parents that, of course, when you became an adult, you had your own life to live, and that you were, you know, you were allowed to do whatever. Like, and I think that might have, like, it might have caused your parents some grief, that they felt like they couldn't really control you. And maybe they still talk about this to this day, and maybe they still feel like they can't control you, that you're always going to do what you want to do, that you're never going to listen to their advice, whatever they tell you to do. They feel like maybe you always do the opposite of what they want you to do. I don't know, but I feel like this could also be in terms of education or something like that, where maybe you've taken matters into your own hands, done things in a way that you wanted to do them. Like maybe you've started some education, like some different educations, and maybe you didn't finish them, or maybe you dropped out of the university to do your own thing. Or maybe you dropped out of the university to take another degree in the university, and like maybe you jumped over to another degree, and like maybe your parents wanted you to, you know, finish what you started at the beginning, and maybe they feel like you should have, you know, had your, like, that somehow you should have known that, like, instead of wasting a lot of time and maybe money on starting something that you never finished, that maybe they feel like you should have known it to begin with. And especially now, okay, so this is going to go a little bit deep, but maybe now that you are practicing a lot with your intuition, and maybe some of you have come to a point where you do psychic work, where you do tarot readings or fortune telling for other people, and maybe your family don't really agree with that, or they feel like it's not for you, or maybe they don't believe in you or your gift, which is very sad to hear and sad to say. It's a sad message to deliver, but I feel like for some of you, your parents might feel like you should have finished what you started back then, and maybe that you should have known back then. Like, if you have such a great intuition, like, this is them talking, it's not me, that then you should have known to begin with that the education that you started was not for you, what's the point of having a great intuition if you start something and then realize, like, half a year into the education that it wasn't the right one for you, then they feel like maybe your intuition failed you back then. And I don't know, because this makes no sense, but because, well, the thing is that they don't really understand what intuition actually is. That this whole, like, using intuition in readings and reading for other people, and you can't really use your intuition on something where you don't already have certain concepts in your mind, because it's the subconscious mind, and the subconscious mind is kind of like playing a memory game, like, you know, where where there's a lot of cards on the table, and you pick up one card, and then you have to, you know, find the match. There's two cards, and they are the same, and in a bunch of cards where all of the others are different. Like, and when you take up one card, you have to find the match, the pair. And if you don't have the pair, like, if you don't have the match, you're not going to find it. So in many ways, using your intuition, you need to have a similar concept within your subconscious mind that can remind you of that, and that is the intuition, that you get reminded, you get an association to something from the past, and then you know intuitively, okay, so now that I'm starting this education, I get flashbacks to something in the past, like something I've read or experienced before, or something that, or a concept that I've learned, or something that I heard in a story, or something I heard on the news, or something that makes that is the association to what is to come. And then I can, you know, pair the two together. Like then the memory game makes sense. Like then, okay, that's a match. That's what's going to happen in the future. But if you don't already have the concept of the future unfolding, then you can't predict the future, or you would be able to predict it, but very roughly, because then you would get an association to something that's similar, but maybe quite far away from what's going to happen, but it's still like maybe then the intuition will be grasping at straws and find something to add it up, but they can't, like the intuition cannot completely come up with new concepts. So in order to strengthen your intuition, you need a lot of experience first, and sometimes you get more experience from failing things and making the wrong decision and making mistakes, and that adds up in the experience that you can then use as your intuition. But you need some experience first, and sometimes, like when you start a new education, if you can't really figure out what's going to happen using your intuition, it might be because what's going to happen is a concept that is either so good that you can't imagine it, that it's out of your imagination, or it's so bad that you can't imagine it, but you can't really know unless you try it. And so I don't know if this makes any sense, but the whole idea of just saying, oh, if you're so psychic, then how did you make that mistake? Or why couldn't you see that coming? Or why did you date that guy? He was totally not that was not a good person for you, or whatever. Like that it's not that simple. And people who think that have not really, experienced what the intuition is and what it can do for you. And it's a very narrow-minded way to look at the intuition. And so, don't listen to people who is only looking for reasons to debunk you. Like, those types of people are just not, worth it to engage yourself in. But I'm going to shuffle and see what the cards have to say about what's the gossip on you. Okay, so with the Two of Wands reversed, I'm sensing that, that there might be some gossip about you lacking direction in life, and again, it's people who, I feel like that's something that I've probably, people would probably think of me that way, and so this could easily be the gossip about me, if I have to be honest, that I would imagine that there are people in my life who also would see me as someone who doesn't have direction in life that I'm, you know, just doing something silly on the internet, and that it's not gonna, you know, that it's never gonna, you know, so if some of you are doing the same thing as me on the internet, like if you're doing YouTube or doing readings for people in other ways or on TikTok or something like that, then yeah, there might be some people who don't understand it, who might feel like you should have like an education instead, that you should be in the university instead, reading, like studying something that you can use in the future, and that you have to have a plan B or something like that, and that you're setting yourself up to failure or something because you're choosing this line of work instead of something that is more, you know, safe, playing it safe. I think there might be someone who's concerned about you because you have chosen to do something else that isn't, you know, maybe something that they don't understand, and so whatever they don't understand feels very, you know, uncomfortable for them. And so you should also look at it as them just somehow trying to look after you, like they're trying to, you know, make sure you don't get into trouble, or make sure that you're I don't know. Okay, so I'm also sensing that there's some criticism that isn't coming from somebody else, but that it might be coming from you. That you might have criticized your parents for something, or maybe your family. You might have said something. Maybe recently you've said to your mother or your father that you felt like the way you were brought up was maybe not exactly what you would have wanted, or maybe not exactly what you want to do when you get children. Like, or if you have children already, you might have told your parents that you're gonna do it in a different way. That you're gonna maybe raise your children with more freedom to be who they want to be, instead of putting restrictions on them, instead of telling them what to do and what not to do. You would maybe rather let them allow themselves to make that decision on their own, like so that it's coming from within, instead of, you know, instead of being pulled over their head. And maybe your parents have been talking about that they find it, you know, that they find it problematic, or that they are maybe just sad about this criticism. And so maybe they get really defensive and start defending what they did. And so maybe this whole thing is actually them being defensive, that they might have talked to other family members or their friends or whatever about, you know, how they are concerned about your mental health because you're into tarot or spirituality, and that you're doing something alternative with your career and stuff like that, and that maybe they use this as a way to defend and justify what they did, or not justify it, but defend what they did, and say that maybe now you're just going down this path, and that this path, this spiritual journey that you're on, is causing you to see everything wrong with what you experienced in your childhood, even though they believe it was completely right, what you like that everything was completely fine. So they might just, you know, blame it on spirituality. That must be the problem here, that you're dancing with the devil, and that is causing you to get all these ideas in your head that is suddenly making you look at your parents with more critical eyes, which it's a little bit silly, you know. But yeah, I know this might be very specific, so it might not, you know, resonate with all of you. But I'm sensing that I just wanted to put this out to those of you where it resonates. So. With the 9 of Swords reversed, it says cruelty, and it's reversed. So I think the gossip about you, like, I think they might not see it as cruelty, like that maybe in their mind they don't see themselves as cruel, that they gossip about you. I think they just gossip about everyone, and so they feel like maybe they are even being inclusive because they also gossip about you. Like, you're also one of them, but you're like, you're just a part of a bigger group that of people who don't, like, nobody gets spared. So maybe they don't see it as a problem because it's just a part of their personality, or like how they were raised. Maybe, like, if it's your parents, they were maybe raised in a family where everybody was being like, everybody talked about each other, and everybody showed concern about each other every time a person, you know, went out the room. Like, then there might have been like all chitter chatter about that person, like, and so maybe it's just the culture. So I don't think they see it as cruel, what they're doing. So of course that doesn't mean it's not, you know, it's just their way of looking at it is that they see it as, you know, very innocent. I'm also sensing something about foreign, I don't know if some of you were foreigners growing up, or like maybe you are still a foreigner. Maybe your family comes from a different country, and so maybe maybe your parents moved to a different country when you were young, and so maybe you have some grudges against them because of that. So maybe that is also one thing that you have criticized your parents for, and maybe told them that you would never do that to your children. Like, you would never take them away from everything that they knew and just move them to another country. Like that maybe you've said that seems a little bit like neglect or something. Maybe they felt like that was something they had to defend themselves, or like where they felt like they had to defend that, and their way of defending it might have been to say might have been by gaslighting you into believing that you're actually the problem right now because you're looking too critically on your childhood. There might also have been something about your stepfather or stepmother. Like, if your parents broke up and you got a stepmother or stepfather who was of another nationality than you might have grown up speaking a different language with your mother or father, and then a whole different language with your stepmother or stepfather, and so there might have been, and maybe you had step siblings as well, and you might have talked one language with them and then another language with your parent or something, and maybe there was a lot of problems within the house that not everybody spoke the same language, and maybe you feel like that would have been an issue that you would have easily detected. Like if you, like right now, if you started dating someone from another country with kids, and you had also kids, you would be able to see that it's a problem that not everyone in the household is speaking the same language. That seems problematic. Like that seems like something that easily could be like could cause conflict and hate towards one another, because some people might feel like, because of course when there's different languages, then people, like the people who don't understand the language that's being spoken, like your step siblings or maybe you or what, I don't know, might feel like, well, whenever whenever you and your mother, like if it's you and your mother who sometimes spoke to each other in your mother tongue, your step siblings might have had hatred towards you because they felt like every time you did that, it was because you were talking shit about them. That it must have been because you were bad-mouthing them behind their back. If you suddenly, switched over to another language mid-sentence, that it might have made them a little bit paranoid or something. I know this. I'm going down a tangent here, and I know it might not be concerning all of you, but I'm just sensing that, maybe this is something that your step siblings had hatred towards, and maybe you felt that hatred because you have a very good intuition, and maybe some of you are even empaths, so maybe you always felt like you were being disliked by people within your household because of something your parents did, like your mother or father did to you, and caused you to be in this situation where you had to, get the beating, because you couldn't just, not speak your mother tongue, because if you stopped practicing your mother tongue, then you would lose it. And so maybe you felt very let down in your childhood, because you felt like either you had to had to adapt to the new culture, or you had to keep the culture, the old culture, but get a lot of enemies while keeping it, or I don't know. I'm just talking about this in I feel like I've lost some of you. Some of you don't really know what I'm talking about at this moment. So I'm just sensing that there might be some gossip about this. That I don't know what the gossip is, though. I feel like it could be one of your parents who still is a bit defensive about this and feels like it's not something that you should keep criticizing them for. So they might still, they might be constantly in some feeling of denial, or that this wasn't as bad at all as you make it out to be. Or this could be something coming from your step siblings, who might talk about this now that it was maybe a trauma for them to always feel paranoid within the household. Like that they never really knew when someone was switching to a language that they didn't understand. They never knew what you were talking about. And maybe it caused them to feel uncertain about, how, maybe uncertain about themselves. And maybe they felt bad about that. I don't know, but I don't know, it seems like there is a lot of gossip. I feel like it's hard to cover it all, actually, because I feel like you've had a very complicated upbringing, a lot of complicated people around you that might have complicated your life, and I think there's just a lot of chitter chatter from a lot of different directions that I don't know. But of course, that's not good news. I know that. It's not fun to hear that there's a lot of gossip going on. But I don't know if, like, I'm not really sensing that any of this gossip is something that you should, you know, take so personally. Like, I feel like a lot of it has nothing to do with you. Like, for instance, like you couldn't, like, you were pushed into a situation by your parents, especially if your parents moved you to another country and then split up and then got remarried with someone from a different culture and different country and different language, and like that this is something that you were pushed into, and so it's not your fault that your parents did that. So if that is the story here, then, well, if somebody feels, you know, bad about that somehow, or feels like they needed to be very paranoid in their, or that they felt very paranoid in their childhood because of this, then, like, how would they have felt if they were in your shoes? Because, yeah, one thing is to be a little bit paranoid because some people in your household are speaking their mother tongue. Yeah, that's of course, I get that. I'm not diminishing it at all, but it's maybe not as bad as, you know, being taken away from your mother country and being pushed into a new culture, pushed into like an unknown territory with a language that you can't really speak in, like, and also with people that you don't know, and then to have to fight for just keeping your mother tongue, because that's something that somehow triggers other people to, if you speak your, like, that is another situation that I think it's maybe a little bit childish and selfish for someone to make themselves the victim of this story just because they had to feel a little bit paranoid because someone was speaking their mother tongue around them like that. So I don't know, but yeah. But if it's about, and if it's about spirituality and religious beliefs, you know, it doesn't concern them. And if it's about your education and what you have chosen to do with your life and whether you've chosen an alternative route or not, that's your career. It's your business. And so in all these things that I'm sensing here that the gossip could be about, I'm not really seeing how it's your problem. None of it. So don't take it personally, because you can only take things personally if it's something that you're doing that you could change in order to make in order to make people happy. But this is not something that you're doing to another person that is directly affecting another person. It's something that you're doing for you. And so I don't think you should be so concerned about it, really. So, but that's all I have for you, group number 3. I hope this reading was helpful. And yeah, have a great day. And if you want a personal reading from me, check the description box below for more information on how to get one. And have a great day, and bye. Hello, group number 4. You chose the Knights Templar Tarot. And I'm going to start with some channeling, and then I'm going to shuffle the cards for you. So I'm going to do the channeling now. So Spirit, can you answer this question for group number 4, the people who will choose group number 4? What's the gossip on group number 4? What are people saying about group number 4 behind their back? Okay, so I'm sensing that the people around you are very funny, like, and they like to be funny. Like, they like to make jokes, and, well, sometimes they might make a joke or two on your expense when you're not in the room. But the thing is that these people would still make the same joke if you were there. So it's not something they say in secret. Like, this is not really gossip at all. Like, this is something they would say to you directly as well. So it's not anything shady. So. And I feel like it's just like they're just having a laugh, and I think nobody gets spared. Like, not a single person within. Like, if this is your family, then I feel like every family member gets a joke or two behind their back. Like, that it's not like everybody makes fun of everybody. Like, and if this is not your family but your friend group, I just feel like everyone in your friend group like, everyone makes jokes about everyone, like that. So it's not like you're not singled out. This happens to everyone. So yeah, and so there might have been like a joke or two about maybe you being a bookworm or like something like that, and that's not even a joke. Like, it's not. Well, first of all, it's not really a joke. It's more like. And it is a compliment to be called a bookworm. It's a good thing. But it might have been said in a way where it wasn't meant to be that flattering. But maybe it was because you chose to stay at home when someone invited you to a party. Then someone might have made a joke that you're just going to be reading at home, that it's probably just because you're studying or something, and that you would rather have your head in the books instead of going out dancing or something. I don't know what this was about, but there might have been some jokes about you being someone who always follows the rules, that you're someone who can't rebel against, the norm or something. But I think it was more said in a way where, like, I don't like. Again, it's a compliment. It's a compliment to be able to follow the rules and instructions and actually, do things in the proper way. And I think maybe you're just surrounded by people who are slightly chaotic people, like people who don't really like to be tied down. Maybe you were raised in a hippie family, and so maybe your family are all kind of, out of the box, and they like to maybe break the rules in any chance that they get. Like, that they might, like, if they are told to do something, they do the exact opposite. And so maybe they felt like it was weird that, like, especially if this is your parents, they might make jokes about how they don't understand how their genes somehow created you. And so, yeah. But also, I'm getting a few different things, like, and it's all. I feel like it's all being said in the dearest way possible, and so, yeah, there might have been a joke about you worrying too much about what other people think, or what not what other people think of you, but there might have been like a time where you accidentally said something that you would then realized afterwards could have been hurtful or could have been misunderstood as offensive, and you might have been really sad about this and worried that you had really fucked up and made that person feel shitty about themselves, and maybe it caused you to, you know, reach out to that person and apologize and tell them how sad you were that you accidentally said this to them. And I think, like, if this was within the family, I think the whole family thought this was kind of funny, even though it wasn't. But but they might have found it funny that you were so worried about offending someone, because maybe that is just not the usual way that the family deals with things. Maybe people in your family, like, usually kind of ends up offending someone, but then they just, you know, I feel like it's more the norm than it is otherwise. And I think they just thought it was strange that you made such a big deal out of it, and they were also very proud of you. Like, there's a pride associated to this, where they felt like they wouldn't have really thought about it. Like, they don't have the overthinking gene, so they wouldn't have, you know, apologized, because they wouldn't have thought it was necessary to apologize, because it seems like they might just not really give a damn sometimes, or they might have like a motto where it's like they just expect people to just deal with it, like and that maybe they blame other people for being insensitive when they are actually the ones offending others. But so it's I don't know. But I'm going to shuffle and see what the cards have to say. Okay, with the Six of Cups, it's a very cute card. It makes me think that, well, first of all, this came out halfway upright, halfway reversed. I don't know if it was more reversed or more upright when it fell out, but the thing is that I think there might be two meanings here. I think there might be some people who talk about you with a lot of nostalgia, like where they're very nostalgic about their childhood with you. Maybe this has to do with your siblings, or maybe some childhood friends that you used to have when you were a child, and these people might talk about the old times, like, and so it's not really gossip. It's just, you know, nice memories that are being shared of how it was like to grow up with you. So it's very positive. On another note, if this came out reversed, there might be someone who sees you as maybe slightly too mature for your age, that you might not have had this teenage rebellion that you should have had. Maybe it's your parents who feel like you were never really a teenager, that you never really got through that phase where you yelled at them and screamed at them, and where you thought they were the, you know, dumbest people on earth, and where you started, like, I think maybe they felt like you never really were a dramatic teenager, and maybe they felt like they were robbed in some way, which is a little bit silly. And so this can only be hippie parents. Like, if like, I feel like this, like every other parent, like other parents would be happy that their teenager wasn't a teenager, like because teenagers are the worst. But I think your parents were somehow looking forward to the time where you would fight back at them and start yelling at them and rebel against them. And I think they just expected that to happen at some point. And maybe it did happen, but they just didn't realize, because the rebellion that you had was to do the opposite of what your parents did. And if your parents were hippies, then they were all about, the freedom and being free to do whatever. And maybe your rebellion was to be more restrictive and do everything by the book and not feeling the need to, use all the freedom that you had. And maybe that you also liked to somehow be limited in your options. And maybe, I don't know, but so maybe there was a rebellion. But so I'm gonna shuffle one more card, or a few more cards, about what's the gossip. Okay, with the Four of Cups, I think there could be some gossip about you being too restrictive of you, like that you're restricting yourself from having a good time or something like that. There might be someone who thinks that you need to loosen up a little bit and start having more fun, and that maybe there was like some kind of party recently where you said that you didn't really want to dance, and maybe someone felt like that was a sign that you were too closed off, or that you were not really allowing the fun to go into your body or something. I don't know. I feel like this person seems a little bit annoying to me, because, one thing is I get that some people really like to dance, and I would never tell anybody to not dance. Like if someone was dancing, I would never ever go up to them and say, oh, keep it down a little bit, try to be a little bit more bland and blend in with all the boring types who don't dance. Like, I wouldn't be like that, and I never dance, by the way, so I'm the boring type. But like, why is it that the people who like to dance always want other people to dance with them, especially the ones who don't want to? Like, why is there always that expectation? I don't know. But yeah, there might have been one time where you didn't want to dance because it's not necessarily fun for everyone. And maybe there was some gossip about that afterwards, that you need to loosen up and stuff. But there might also have been like a time where you went to a party and you were reading a book at the party, which might have given a signal to some people that you didn't really seem to want to be there, or that like, I don't know, I don't know. But it could also just have been that you were very caught up in this book, and that it was starting to get really interesting, and so maybe you just wanted to finish it before you could have like this dinner party with other people, like that. Maybe you just so I don't know. But with the Ace of Cups, there is a lamb here, like a sacrificial lamb, or I don't know if it's sacrificial. It's like it might not be, but now that was what I was thinking when I saw the card, and so what this is telling me is that I think people might see you as someone who sacrifices yourself a little bit too much, that you're not really having a lot of fun, that you're not really focused on what you want to do with your life, and that you're not like that it doesn't seem like you have like an opinion on what you like and dislike. That maybe also this could also have been like if you were at a restaurant with some friends recently, you might have said that you didn't really care what you ordered because like you could eat anything, like that it wasn't really a big deal for you. If there was like some big order for the table, you didn't really care what was being ordered. And maybe people saw that as you not having an opinion, or that you didn't allow yourself to be problematic, like that you're too afraid of being a problem or being a burden to people, that you never really tell people what you honestly feel or what you honestly want, because you don't want to be any trouble for other people. But it seems like I feel like that is a misunderstanding. I think sometimes you just don't have an opinion. Maybe you just believe that people are probably better at ordering food at that restaurant because they had made, like the friends that you were with at that restaurant, they might or if it was family, then it could have been your family members who were ordering, but you might have thought that, well, they probably know better because they've been there before, and so they will probably be ordering something good. And so why have an opinion about something that you've never really tried, or that you like don't really have an opinion about? Like you can't really make up an opinion about something if you don't have one. And so so I think people see you as someone who never really wants to be egotistical, that you never want to come across as someone who is only doing things for yourself and only thinking of yourself, that you're someone who's constantly thinking about other people, and that you're maybe afraid of people thinking that you're only thinking of yourself. And that's maybe also a fair assumption that people have, because I think you are afraid of getting that stigma, because it is a terrible stigma. It's terrible when people think that you're only thinking of yourself. And I get that. I think I've also overcompensated to make sure that people wouldn't assume that that's how I am, that I don't want to be seen as egotistical and selfish. And I think it's because it is a very negative thing, and people usually see it as a very negative thing. And so we don't want to be in that boat with some of the people that usually annoy other people. Like we want to be, as likable as possible. Isn't that somehow a part of like social life, like that? But that you have to. That you sometimes have to make a sacrifice in order to just, fit in, and that's okay. Like, but yeah, maybe I don't know. I'm gonna shuffle a little bit more. And also with the Ace of Cups, it's like there might be someone who feels like you have you're too sensitive on other people's behalf. You're too worried that you're crossing a line with people. Like if you ask questions to people, you might ask them first if it's okay if you ask them a question, or you might constantly, you know, like when you are having a conversation, you might check up on people and ask them, is it okay? Like, are you sure that you want to share this with me? You don't have to share this with me. I'm just curious, but you don't have to. And maybe people feel that you're too nice, that you show too much kindness to them in a way that they might not be used to, and they might not be used to people being so worried about their boundaries being crossed, because that's just not usually how people interact with one another. And so I think you should keep going, keep doing this, but there might be some gossip about you being too worried about other people's feelings and hurting other people's feelings and crossing people's boundaries and stuff like that. So with the 10 of Pentacles, this well, there are 2 dogs on this card here, and what this is telling me is that I think people see you as a dog person or an animal person, that it seems like you're someone who has a big heart when it comes to animals, and that you also seem like someone who genuinely cares about the well-being of all animals in the world. I think this is something people talk about. Maybe someone might talk about it in a way where it's being said in a little bit of a condescending way, but it's not negative. But especially if you're a vegan, there might be someone in your friend group or in your family who might have said like that it's a bit too much, or that that you don't have to sacrifice everything in order to save the world or something. But this is probably someone who doesn't really this is someone who might have like a strong opinion against or I don't know. I don't think it has anything to do with you personally. I think this person just feels that way about vegans in general. So not you, just, you know, veganism. So yeah. But again, it kind of clashes with this card here, or the thing that I said before about you not having an opinion about what you were going to eat. But it might be like one of those things where you might be a vegan when you're at home and, you know, cooking for yourself. But when you go out, you might not want to be a burden to others. So you might say to people that it doesn't really matter, that they can just, you know, serve whatever, and you will be happy with whatever they serve, and that they don't have to change the menu for you, and that they don't have to have like different options for you. And maybe they feel like it wouldn't be terrible if you like, and this is coming from like different people, because I think there is some people in your life who feels like it's okay of you to ask them to cook something vegan for you, and that they wouldn't be bothered by that, and that they might even find it, you know, to be a fun challenge to do something like to cook something different for you. But then there might be some other people, maybe someone from the older generation, possibly like a grandfather or an uncle or someone in your family who might think that you're making a big fuss just by being vegan. But yeah, it's you win some and you lose some, and you can't really it's hard to please everybody, and it's hard to change your behavior in order to accommodate everybody's liking and what everybody like. It seems like there are many different expectations for you within both your friend group and your family, that it seems like you can't win with everyone, and there will always be someone making jokes. And I feel like people talk about you in a way, like whenever they say something slightly negative, they say it they say it in a more joking way. It's not serious. It's not like criticism. So it's. But yeah, of course, there might be some people who want you to act in a different way, or like that you need to loosen up, and then other people want you to loosen up a little bit less, or try to follow the norm. And then there are some people who feel like you follow the norm too much, and so it's it's hard. So, but I think overall people have a very good feeling about you, and they see you as a very good person. And so, yeah. But that's all I have for you, group number 4. I hope this reading was helpful or enjoyable or whatever. But yeah, if you want a personal reading from me, check the description box below for more information on how to get one. And have a great day, and bye. Hello, group number 5. You chose the Jolanda Tarot deck, and I'm going to start with some channeling, and then I'm going to shuffle the cards for you. So I'm going to do the channeling now. So Spirit, can you answer this question for group number 5, the people who will choose group number 5? What's the gossip on group number 5? Okay, it seems like people don't gossip that much about you at all. It seems like your behavior, your actions, they don't hit a nerve in people. So people don't really have anything to talk about, because usually when people gossip about other people, it's because they are triggered by their behavior or something they said or something. But I think you have a very good sense of what you're supposed to say to people and what you're not supposed to say. And so I think you navigate very easily through that minefield where you don't offend people and you don't hurt people, and you rarely get into some kind of misunderstanding where people misunderstand your words. And I think it's because when there is a misunderstanding, it's like you know when it's happening. Intuitively, you can tell that there's something off, and I think you're very quick to fix it and say, oh, it might be because we've misunderstood each other. Maybe you thought I meant this, but actually I meant that. So I think you're very, very, very aware of your surroundings, very aware of the people that you talk to and how they are feeling when they talk to you. And I think this is why this is why people are not talking about you behind your back. It's because people don't see you as they don't see you as problematic. They don't see you as annoying. They don't see you as mean or as a bully or anything like that. They see you as a genuinely authentic, likable person. So I am getting one thing though, and that is that there might be someone who might have said that you're a bit too likable, or that it seems like sometimes you say what you expect other people to what you expect other people want to hear from you, like that you're saying what they want you to say. And so maybe someone has wondered if it's actually how you feel, or if you're just bullshitting them into liking you, which I don't think that's the case. I think you do have a way of, blending in with people's energies, maybe. I think maybe you could be an empath, so it might be very, like, maybe it can become a little bit, a little bit confusing sometimes when you talk to people, where you begin and where they begin and where you end, that sometimes you blend too easily into the energy of others, and maybe sometimes you get mood swings or something when you're out with other people. If you're being social with other people, you might get really angry or really emotional when you talk to someone, and maybe you wonder afterwards if that was your anger, or if you were being affected by the people in the room. And so maybe sometimes you're a little bit too adaptable, or you get too affected by energies of others. So there could be something about this slight criticism that could be halfway true, because I think when you're an empath, it just gets like I think it's hard not to do this sometimes, especially when because you, as an empath, you have to constantly be aware of this in order to make sure it doesn't happen. So you always have to work overtime to try to stay in your own body, so that your mind doesn't wander off and go into other people's bodies. That you have to stay on your territory, and that is very hard when you're an empath and your natural way of interacting with people is to remove yourself from your body and going into others. But of course, like when you're at a party, and maybe if you get get something to drink and suddenly the guards are off, then you will automatically start wandering off and start maybe saying some things that where it's what that person expects to hear, but it's like you can't really choose not to do it, because it's like the person dominates you into all, like that. There's also the dominating energy from other people, that expectations can sometimes also seem very hard to resist. It's hard, it's like some people just have a very strong energy and can be very, very persuasive and very and have a very demanding energy that can cause you to to feel like it's not really up to you. Like you can't just say whatever is whatever is your opinion. Like if that person is very strong in their opinion, and like sometimes, and it doesn't only happen to empaths. This is also just the name of the game. Like being social with people who are very persuasive in their opinions and really want to talk about politics, but wants to, you know, make sure that everybody knows that they are idiots for believing in something different than they believe in. And there are people who really have, you know, very intimidating energies too, where it seems intimidating to and kind of scary to say to speak a different opinion than what they have stated. So and of course, maybe the person who is gossiping about you could be the one with the very persuasive energy, the person who is very dominating and intimidating, and this person might not realize what impact they have on other people. So when other people just, you know, adapt to their opinion and just tells them what they think they want to hear, that it's like this person doesn't realize that, that it's out of intimidation. And so they just think of them, so this person just thinks of them as weak-minded. And maybe you go into that category because you have once caved, and maybe you started out stating your own political opinion, but then you might have switched to the other person's political opinion just out of intimidation, and it makes sense. And I don't think you should beat yourself up about this. And I think it's most like the problem is that this person doesn't realize that what energy they put out in the world, how they affect others. So, but with the sun here, people have a very positive view on you in general. There might be someone who feels like you're very adaptive, but that is the only criticism that I feel like has been, you know, talked about, especially recently. I think people don't seem to have any gossip about you at the moment, other than maybe that you're easily persuaded. But that also comes from a good place. I think sometimes, I think that's not necessarily a bad thing. There could also be something about your mind being very open, and maybe you're just not. Maybe you're just the opposite of narrow-minded. So when people come to you and explain something to you, and really go into detail in why they have a certain opinion about something, then I think you give them the time of day, and you want to listen to what they have to say, because you're truly curious about why they feel that way and why they have this opinion. And some people might see that as you just, you know, giving up on your principles and not really standing tall in your own beliefs. But I think it's more a sign that you're not limiting your beliefs, because you're allowing people to expand your mind. So, yeah. With the Five of Swords here, people, like, there might be someone who has said that you settle for less than you deserve. So this, and this again, it's a compliment to you, but kind of goes hand in hand with people thinking that you're maybe you're very sweet, that you're a very kind person, that you're maybe a little bit too kind, to the point where maybe some people might take advantage of you, or you might settle for a partner who's not up to your level, but where you take pity on someone and then end up in a relationship with them just because you want to save them or something. I don't know if this is true though, but that might be something maybe someone in your family or in your friend group, or I don't know, might have said that they feel like that you could have like a bit of a savior complex, that you are looking for stray dogs or something, and also stray people, that you're out to find someone that you can polish and, you know, and hopefully, you know, change for the better. But without, I don't know if you usually go for the bad boy type or something, or the bad girl type if you're into girls, but I think there might be a little bit of a rumor going on that might be your type, that you're, and maybe I think people see it as opposites attract, that you're looking for the opposite of you, and the opposite of you is a bad boy or a bad girl, like, and that I think I don't even know if that's true though. So yeah. But someone might have been kidding around about it. I don't think this was said in a serious way though. I think it was more said in like a, you know, a joking way, or I don't know. I'm gonna shuffle a little bit more. So with the 9 of Wands, I think people talk about you as very strong and very resilient, and especially when it comes to things that go against you, or things in your life that don't go as you expect them to go, that you're very good at also adapting to your situation changing. Like if you, like, it seems like you have a very positive mind. Like if you lose your job, you're very good at just saying like whatever, like then you just move on to another job, and you might even see it as a blessing in disguise, that it was never really meant for you to begin with, and that it's a good development, and that it's giving you a new chance to start a new adventure. And I think people see you as just extremely positive, to the point where maybe someone might feel like you're a little bit too positive, especially maybe on other people's behalf. Like if because this is okay when you're talking about yourself, but if there was someone in your life who recently got a divorce or lost a job or something, you might have tried to comfort that person by telling that person that it was never meant for them to begin with, and that that they shouldn't see it as the end of the world, because it's a beginning of a new chapter, and that they have their whole life ahead of them, and that it's like maybe you try to just give this person positive reassurance that that things are gonna be fine in the future, but maybe this person felt like you were that maybe they weren't really ready for your positive mindset at that moment. Like maybe they wanted to wallow in the grief a little bit more, and they might have wanted you, like, even though I don't think they really wanted that, but maybe they wanted to talk about how much they had lost, and how shitty it was, and how terrible their situation was, and I think they needed that at that moment, or that was how they felt. I think they needed more what you gave them, but they wanted something different. Like they wanted to just be able to, you know, sit in their emotions a little bit longer. So yeah, but this was just one thing. But I feel like actually the gossip is still not really gossip. The gossip is just people talking slightly, I don't know. They're more just talking about you in a very normal sense, where it's just a normal conversation about a person that they have as a very dear person in their life. Like, so I think they talk about you as a very good friend, as a very, like, and your family might talk about you as a very good family member, and so it seems all very positive. And they see you as someone who is very strong, but also strong because you've probably experienced a lot, and you have overcome a lot of, you know, a lot of things in your life, and maybe also a lot of trauma. And maybe that is also why when people tell you that they are going through something terrible, they might feel like you're not the right person to talk to. And it doesn't really matter what you say, because it's just the fact that they feel like they can't really they feel like they can't really talk to you about it, because they know that you've been through something way worse, and so they feel like they can't sit there and cry about what they are experiencing, because it's such a small thing in comparison to what you have overcome. And so it might not even have had anything to do with what you said to comfort that person, but the fact that you were there and that they felt like a wimp for making a big fuss about something that was so tiny in comparison to what you experienced. So but usually, like, mostly the talk about you is very positive. It is the sun. It's very, very, it's shining very bright. So, yeah. But I think that's all I have for you. Group number 5. I hope this reading was somewhat helpful, and I hope it gave you the answer. The answer is that there really doesn't seem to be that much gossip about you at all, which is, you know, reassuring. It's nice to know that there's, that it doesn't seem like there's anyone who is like telling you one thing to your face and then saying something completely different about you behind your back. Like, there's no shady people in your life, or there might be shady people, but they aren't shady towards you. So yeah. But yeah, that's all I have for you. Thank you for watching, and if you want a personal reading from me, check the description box below for more information on how to get one. And have a great day, and bye.